Another important principle that the liberalists put forward, especially by John Stuart Mill, who is a big proponent of liberalist thought, a 19th century, who proposed that the harm principle, that's what he calls it, that the harm principle means that you should allow people to do whatever they want as long as they're not harming anybody. Right? So the definition of harm for the Muslim is not the same for the liberalist or even the Christian or the Jew. Muslims, we have a verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. Allah is telling you, fear the fitna that doesn't only affect those who did the wrong. And the harm principle for the Muslims doesn't work. A Muslimah or a Muslim male saying, don't judge me, we don't understand this. We are not necessarily judging you like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge, but we're seeing an immoral act that you're doing that is going to harm other people. This is what liberalism doesn't like, the judgment of society, right? The categorization of actions into good and evil. They don't like this. But we Muslims are aware of that. So the idea of just loving the self is alien to Islam, which is very prevalent with liberalists. They believe that nobody should be, nobody's love or passions or desires should be questioned. Everyone, if you want to love an animal, if you want to love a man and you're a man, or a woman loving a woman and having intimacy, these things shouldn't be questioned. It's about what you want. And it has seeped through the Muslims now. You find Muslims agreeing to these concepts, not knowing what the Sharia says. And it's very dangerous because it's a slippery slope. It takes you there before you know it. That's what Islam says. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Don't follow the footsteps of shaitan, because he takes you to the worst of places. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to tell us not to commit zina, he says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Don't go close to it. So Muslims now have this idea of loving the self. I love me. I do what I like. I do what I feel. This is not right. We do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَإِذَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. When I command you to do something, come to that thing the best you can. Do your best to do it. وَإِذَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْ شَيْءٍ. If I prohibit you from doing other things, certain things, فَدُؤُوهُ. Just leave it. So our criteria for being good is following the Sharia, is following the Sunnah. So if the Islam says love for your brother what you love for yourself. Islam is not a religion of self-love. It's a religion of brotherhood. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. Indeed, the believers are brothers and sisters of one another. So make reconciliation between the brothers and sisters. That's what Islam says. If I want reform for myself, I should want it for the other person, not to focus on my desires and myself to the point where I become narcissistic. And liberalism has no problem with narcissism. It says everyone is unique, so do what you like, do you. Islam also agrees with the uniqueness of the individuals, but that shouldn't stop you from coming together. And that's why we have a religion that is built on ibadat or jama'ah, right? We do our worship together.